Hey everyone, welcome back to Shop Life. As you can see, we are in the truck today and we're actually going to pick up a project car, but not for me. You know, I never actually thought that my fiance's brother, so I guess he'll technically be my brother-in-law, will be buying a project car, and I didn't think it was going to be this project car either. Hopefully you guys will see it here soon. He already went and looked at it. It's about 2 hours from us, and he went and looked at it yesterday. He pretty much fell in love. But we haven't seen it yet, and we're gonna go look at it. It's pretty much in the middle of nowhere, but I think it's a really good deal. Once we actually get a look at it and make sure, you know, everything checks out, then we'll be loading it up on the trailer and bringing it back home. And this is very exciting. You know, it's like, I remember buying my first project car, and it's just, you know, it's the best feeling in the world, honestly, like just being able to buy something like that, especially as your first project, and then just, you know, dreaming about all the stuff you want to do to it. So we're picking him up right now. We'll talk to him and see what his plans are a little bit as well. And then you guys get to see the new project on the channel as well.
Now we are at the U-Haul place.
These things loaded up. Not gonna lie, honestly, it's better than I thought it was gonna be.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's 50 years old, but it's got rust. It's just not as bad as I thought it was going to be, because, you know, 50-year-old car in the East Coast, usually they're a little bit more rusty. But yeah, I mean, it's got some rust. Once we start taking it apart, we'll see. It's gonna be a pretty good project for him.
Should I show the back of this?
What is that?
You excited?
Yeah. Yeah, these for the wheels. The hubcaps. Give it a good power wash.
And it's so many spiders on there. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You like this E46 seat in our truck?
All right, let's head home.
Put these two pieces.
The keys.
Where's the title? Oh, what was that? So we've got the Corvette. It's a 1975 Corvette. As you guys saw, we went and picked it up. So it's actually Selena's brother's first project car. And we're actually going to be getting it to run today. So it currently does start up, and that's how we were able to load it onto the trailer. It starts, but as soon as you let go of the gas, so if you're not pressing that throttle pedal, it just dies. So I did look, you know, did a little bit of research. The owner told us that the engine in here is out of a newer Suburban. So he said that it's one of the Vortec engines. And we're not entirely sure about that. I haven't really looked into it that much as far as verifying the engine, but one thing I did verify is that it's got a Edelbrock carburetor on it. So it's got a 1406 carburetor, which has the electric choke. So what we're gonna try to do today is we're just gonna try to figure out, you know, maybe do some adjustments, and then worst case scenario, take off that whole carburetor, and we're gonna let German, which is Selena's brother's name, we're gonna let him rebuild that whole carburetor. And tell you the truth, I haven't really worked on carburetors that much either. The only carburetors I've ever really worked on are lawnmowers and other lawn equipment. So this kind of it's kind of going to be a learning process for me as well. And we're going to take you guys along with us to get this car back on the road. So first things first, you know, let's just take a look at the car and talk about some of the issues that it has. So here it is, it's a 1975 Corvette, and here is the engine. So they did repaint like the valve covers and stuff like that, and even this air cleaner, but I mean, obviously you can see everything's peeling off and just not that well, you know, put on, I would say, or well prepped. And that's kind of the whole thing with the whole car. The whole car's been repainted before, and they didn't really prep it that well. It looks okay from far away until you start getting close. And once you start getting close, you can start seeing those bubbles and all the paint, and that's across the whole car. And now these cars are primarily fiberglass. So all this stuff is fiberglass, quarter panels. It's all kind of like one piece too. A lot of this stuff is just glued on, which makes it a little bit more difficult to, you know, take stuff off to replace and stuff like that. But hey, German's goal with this car is to make it fast. And that is exactly what we're gonna do. And that's why we're not really too worried about the whole mechanical side of things, because we're probably gonna end up doing an engine swap or something like that. And you can see there's some standing water and stuff like that. And that's all because German already pressure washed most of this car off to get all the spiders and all that stuff off. But one other issue that's major that will stop the car from driving, we believe, is this master cylinder along with all of the brake lines that go to all the calipers. So first things first, we're gonna get the car running and, you know, actually let it stay running, and then we'll worry about everything else to make it drive. Now here's a couple more shots of the inside. This is an automatic, and it shows that it's got 44,315 miles. But like I said, we're not really too worried about all of that. You can see all the gauges. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't really work on here. I think there's a lot of electrical stuff going on as well. Hey, but that's to be said with almost a 50-year-old car. All right, well, let's get it running. So there's German. Let me show you guys what it's doing when it tries to turn on. So turn it on, but don't give it any gas. And it dies. Now turn it on and give it gas to let it keep running. Give it some gas first. So yeah, that's with him giving it gas. We could keep it running, but as soon as we let go of that gas pedal, it just wants to die. So we're gonna start out with first, we're gonna check all the vacuum lines all around here, make sure all those vacuum lines are good, and then we're gonna actually mess with these idle air screws right here. So we're gonna take those off completely, try to clean out the passages as much as we can, and see if we can make a difference, and if it doesn't, then we'll be pulling off the entire carburetor. Alright, so first German's gonna go ahead and remove this whole air cleaner assembly that we can see inside the carburetor. Pull off the whole thing.
Goddamn.
Yeah, it's been sitting for a while. And this carburetor, yeah, there's dirt in the whole thing. Dirt, corrosion.
Looks like sand or something.
Yeah, that's what happens when gas sits. It turns into that little debris looking, yellow looking stuff. Yeah, that's not good. So we are probably gonna have to take all of this out. You can just see all this dirt just coming off. Cause we don't want that going in the engine, that's for sure. Alright, so I guess we're pulling off the carburetor. What we're gonna do, we're just gonna remove all of these lines and get this carburetor off. I'm on this side, German's on that side, and we're just gonna figure it out and get it off. Let's do it. So this is a Edelbrock 1406, which has this electric choke. So these wires are kind of brittle anyways. Hopefully this still works, but we'll figure that out later.
Oh shit, the spring.
Here's some vacuum lines that you might have to use a needle nose plier for.
The spring?
Yeah.
No,
You already got it?
Hooked
Awesome. Yeah, these vacuum lines are all stuck down here too, so they're probably bad.
Oh my god. They painted this too.
So here's the fuel line. Let's see how much fuel comes out. So honestly, we don't know how long this car's been sitting for, but by the looks of it, it's been sitting for a while. And that's probably why I got this bad. So chances are the fuel that's in here is also bad. Let's see how much sprays out. So these are not really pressurized because the carburetor does most of the sucking. So actually it's not too bad. Actually the fuel's not bad. I mean, it's yellow, but it's not horrible. Could be worse. Alright. Now I'm gonna smell like gas for the next couple days, but it's the name of the game.
Alright, now just...
Another vacuum line. Almost out. There you go. Those vacuum lines are out. That's the linkage. We're just gonna take this whole thing off and leave it right there. And then the whole carburetor comes off. So this is probably standard. Yeah, it's standard, not metric. We are probably gonna have to go buy a rebuild kit, but that's the thing with Edelbrock carburetors. Pretty much one rebuild kit works for pretty much all the Edelbrock carburetors. You just have to, you know, figure out which parts you exactly need to use. They give you extras. And I've never rebuilt a carburetor this big before. I've done lawnmower carburetors. So this is going to be kind of interesting to see how many more pieces there are. And I'll let you do the honors. So just lift up this whole thing. Yep, pull it straight off and go out with it. Oh. Bro, it's fine. All right, so we got the carburetor off. That's so simple. I wasn't expecting it to be that quick and easy, but I think that's the easiest part of this whole ordeal. Now what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna have to go to a parts store to get that rebuild kit. We're also gonna get some carburetor cleaner because I've got brake cleaner, but I know brake cleaner is not supposed to be used on carburetors to preserve some of the seals and stuff like that. We're just gonna get the carb cleaner. It doesn't really matter for me or for German, because he's not gonna keep this engine in here, you know, permanently. We're just trying to get this car running so he can get a feel. He's never had an American car for that matter, or any other project car. So we need to make sure that he likes this car before he starts dumping a lot of money into it. But this carburetor, we're gonna have to do that regardless, just in case if he doesn't like the car and he wants to resell it. It's better to have a running and driving car for sale than a project car. So we're gonna go to a parts store. And that's another thing, if you guys are familiar with my channel, you guys know that we do a lot of BMWs. His daily driver is also a BMW. And for BMW stuff, you can't just run to the parts store and get the parts that you need. That's one advantage of, you know, having an American car, or a domestic car for that matter. You can just go to the parts store, any parts store. You should be able to get everything you need. And they usually have, you know, good brand components, as well as their own house brands are alright too. So that's going to be a positive, and that's going to help us out quite a bit in order to get this car back up and running. So let's just close up shop and let's go to the parts store. Alright, so we're back. We got a carb cleaner, Edelbrock 1477 carb rebuild kit, and here's the carb. Oh my god, look how bad it is. Honestly, it'll probably be better off just replacing this whole thing, but we do not want to waste any more money than we have to. We just want to get it running. So let's start cleaning. Alright, let's spray some cleaner in here. So, I think we just realized that the choke is stuck. This whole flap is not moving at all. Let's take off some of these linkages first. That goes there. I just don't want to mess up this electronic choke. Maybe it's something with that, but we don't want to screw that up. So now we've got that disconnected, and that should allow us to move this freely now. There it goes. This we have to be careful Make sure those floats don't get damaged. Let's see how bad it is. Oh, it's bad. Get this gasket out. Just a lot of rust on this, and that's not good. Let me put this off in one piece. Bruh.
What the fuck?
How is it this bad? Oh my god. Everything is corroded. Like there's actual rust on some of these things. So it must have been staying outside for most of the time it was just sitting. It was all outside. Alright, so cleaning this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be a pain to clean it. Look at all this gunk in here. That's nasty. So here is where we're at. We got some of the old gaskets off, but now we're pretty much at the cleaning stage. All of this needs to be cleaned. Now ideally, like I said before, I know all the comments are gonna say that carburetor is too far gone, you just need to replace it. But another carburetor like this model right here is an Edelbrock 1406 is $400. So we're trying to save as much money as we can because this engine is definitely not going to stay in here. German wants this car to be fast, and obviously we can swap a LS for much cheaper or go a different route. So right now we just want to get this car running, that way he can drive it around and see if he actually likes it. But yeah, so now that's the good thing about teaching someone how to work on cars or letting them shadow you. Once you get to this point, all of this stuff needs to be cleaned. So we gotta clean all of this, which is probably gonna take him a couple hours. So he is gonna be cleaning for the rest of his day. So let's let him get to that. We got a couple balls of carb cleaner. He's gonna need some brushes and just go at it. Dang, it's already looking better. Just spraying the carb cleaner. Now go ahead and brush your teeth. Yeah, he's got a long way to go. We'll keep checking back in every 10-15 minutes. Quick update. He's got one side, so one half of it, pretty much done. Just needs a final rinse with all that carb cleaner. Now he's working on the bottom half. Yeah, it's going. And we're not trying to get it to be perfect. Just want it cleaned up, get as much of the crud out of there as we can. That way it doesn't, interfere with the operation. And then is the tedious task of doing all these little things. All the needles and the venturis and all of those. So ideally I would want to replace the floats as well, but hey, as long as it works, it's fine. So I need to clean up all of that as well. So I think he's been at it for about an hour and a half, and we still got a way to go.
Yep.
I had to open the door because it's smelling pretty strong in here. We're almost done. I'm jumping in on the last couple minutes to just help him clean some of this stuff up. But for the most part, he's got everything done. How you feel?
Not tired?
You can't feel your fingers?
No. My legs.
Man. It's a lot of scrubbing, a lot of cleaning, but it actually came out pretty good. I mean, you can look at some of these items. Got all the corrosion off for the most part. I mean, it's still a little dusty. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put everything back together now. Once everything's back together with the rebuild kit, based on that, we might clean some stuff as we're going, get any debris out of there, and then I think we should be good to go. Alright, so here's a rebuild kit. We're about to start opening it, and then we're gonna start putting all the new gaskets everywhere. So we put a gasket there, gasket on other one, get all the gaskets on, then we gotta get all the needles, the seats, all of that put back on. And yeah, this is gonna be a tedious process, but hopefully we get everything put back together where it needs to go. So we had these little float separator things in the wrong way, but we got everything else assembled. We got the floats assembled, measured as well, make sure they're dropping enough and they're closed enough. Got the seal replaced on the accelerator pump and that installed. New spring inside, so we should be good. Only thing I hope we got right is this S-clip, because we kind of forgot the orientation, but we think it's right. We'll see. And you know, we're not really too worried about how clean everything is. Obviously, there's no way we're going to be able to get this thing to be spotless just with how much corrosion is everywhere. But we're just hoping that we're able to get it to run and stay running. So right now, the idle air screws, they're just tightened all the way down. So we're still gonna have to adjust that, and then we're gonna adjust more of that once it's back on the car. As the car is running, we can adjust the idle screw the way we need it to be. And then another issue we have is this gasket is different than the gasket that was on this carburetor. That's where it goes to the manifold. So hopefully that doesn't cause any issues, but we'll see. And the spring sits inside of there. There we go. Alright, after this, just the linkages, and then that last gasket, and then we can put it back on the car. There it goes. Alright. That goes to that. Alright, that's all of them. It's starting to get kind of dark, so hopefully you guys can still see. We're not even going to mess with these vacuum lines, we're just going to put them all back on. Ah, fuck. All the threads are stripped from this shit. Damn it. Fucking bullshit. All the threads stripped out of the intake.
Is this right here?
Yeah. That'll go right there, and there's the clip that needs to go on top of there.
The clip right here.
Alright, it's getting really dark. Let's try to turn it on.
Now?
Yep. Well, I need to put a clamp for that. So he got the carb rebuilt, we got it put back on. Obviously it's still not running right, but it's super dark outside. But it is running and it stays running by itself. We need to check a few other things. You know, we didn't really leave it running for too long, but we still need to adjust the idle, adjust the carburetor itself, check all the fluids, do all that. But like I said, it's dark and the brakes do not work on the car at all, so we can't even move it around. So we're gonna just have to pick back up, and you guys will see that on the next video on this car. But hey, he got it rebuilt, he cleaned all of it. Man, it's a great feeling. He can't stop smiling either. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in our next video.